Welcome. Today we will have a look on one of Taboo Conspiracy's latest video. But first I want to thank my members, Patreons and donors. Okay, let's start. Ben, Taboo Conspiracy, are releasing a series video he calls Flat Earth Facts, and today we will have a look at number 6, which have the name The Space Vacuum. And let's start.
Take a gas, vacuum of equal volume, and we're going to remove the barrier. You know what's going to happen spontaneously, right? The gas is going to fill the available volume.
Is the expansion of a gas into a vacuum. I have in one of these bulbs some bromine, and in the other I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. Now that is the simplest change we can have, perhaps, because all that happens is a change in entropy. In this case, the expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy.
Okay, the same videos that's often are used by flat earthers, and they are correct, but they don't prove that we live on a flat earth, and it don't prove that space is fake. Okay, let's move on.
When you suggest that you have space, therefore second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply.
Seriously, Taboo, do you really try to use Nathan Mute Bottom Oakley as some kind of expert? What degrees do he have in any science? Oh, besides talking bullshit science then.
It's a begging the question fallacy. So often I will ask fundamentalist religious zealots, beyond your fundamentalist religious zealot belief that the sky is a vacuum, how can you have gas pressure without a container? Because the natural instinct of a fundamentalist globe-believing fundy, it's a bit redundant, is to beg the question of the sky vacuum and then tell us that obviously the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply because the gas isn't filling my presupposition that the sky is a vacuum.
Both Mr. Mute Button Oakley and Taboo knows the answer to this, and it's gravity. You have a force acting on the atmosphere, and it's also explain why the atmosphere is thicker at the Earth's surface and closest to space it's almost no atmosphere. And because the fact that a vacuum is not a force, it don't have to be a strong force to hold this small amount of air molecules and so on stick to the atmosphere. It's so simple to understand, even a 10-year-old understand that explanation, but not Mr. Mute Button and the lying Taboo.
Well, that's a begging the question fallacy, to assume that you've got a sky vacuum and therefore not require a justification for its violation of that particular law. That would be an entropy increase, or standard gas law.
And this illustration proves how ignorant they are. Vacuum is not a force.
The volume that you would calculate it with would be the volume of space the gas has to fill. And if the sky was a vacuum, that would be an availability of volume for the gas we breathe to fill. And fill it must. That's what gas does. It expands in all directions. So the gas we're breathing, which is at pressure, would fill the sky vacuum. Now their response is often to say, well, we have a gas pressure gradient, which is merely a delta of the original question and assertion when you've got a sky vacuum belief? How can you have gas pressure in the first instance without a container? And they would say, well, a delta of gas pressure gradient is something we experience. It's like, well, how did you achieve the gas pressure in the first place without containment? And the answer is you can't. It stands directly in violation of several natural laws.
Okay, Mr. Oakley Dokley and Tadoobly Doobly, can any of you explain why the atmosphere is having a gradient? Why is it thicker at Earth level than on the top of a mountain? If you don't have a force that pulls it down, what's making it thicker at the Earth level? What is the force making this?
Without the container, there can be no pressure. Therefore, if the sky was a vacuum, as asserted in the heliocentric rhetoric, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. Outer space, claimed to be a vacuum, is fake. Therefore, any claims from that claim to be sky vacuum are automatically fake.
Seriously, Taboo, do you really think this rubbish is any kind of evidence for anything other than that Nathan loves his own voice? He repeats the same bullshit over and over again and can't present any real facts or proofs for his claims. Okay, I can't stand more of those two fools. Let's move on. Okay, that was all what I had for you today. It was a shorter video than normal because I'm away out at sea and working for the government. I will be back 28th of June, but I will publish as usual, but shorter ones. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.